All right, and we're live. Hey, everybody, what's up? And welcome to our 2014 Year in Review Google Hangout. My name is Sarah Thomas, and we have a panel of educators located everywhere. We have people in the U.S., we have people in the United Arab Emirates, just everywhere. So I'm going to introduce everyone in just a
It's
second.
like two places.
I know, right? All over the place. But the reason we're doing this one is because this is a year to the date of the very first Google Hangout interactive tutorial thingy that I've ever done. So I wanted to celebrate with all of my buddies. So, hey, buddies, good to see y'all. So if we could just go down the line, we're going to celebrate this year of awesome. So let's start off. Let's go from my left all the way to the right. So let's start off with Doug, the weird teacher. If you could just tell a little bit about yourself.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Doug. I'm the weird teacher.
Hi.
This is the tiny human.
Hi.
We're in Southern Oregon. I teach 4th grade this year.
Hi.
You say hi. Oh.
Cool beans. Cool beans.
And I was
Such a
hoping that
cutie.
the tiny human would be nicer.
He's so adorable. He's so adorable. All right, great. Dr. Will?
How y'all doing? Dr. Will from Mississippi, instructional technologist. How y'all doing?
Great, great. And Jordan?
Hey, I'm Jordan. I am the one person in the United Arab Emirates. I'm teaching middle school English and the department head at a bilingual school, Arabic predominant language, so its own problems, own struggles, but hanging in there.
Nice, nice. And Sarah?
Hi, I'm an instructional technology coach, also a Google certified teacher and a Google education trainer as of 48 hours ago, and I live in the Chicagoland area.
How exciting.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes, 2014 has definitely been the year of awesome for us on the panel. So we're just going to celebrate this year of awesome with our biggest takeaways. So we're just going to take turns of sharing kind of what our big takeaways were, and everybody's just going to kind of chime in with their own experiences. So would anyone like to start with their very first takeaway of the year of awesome?
One of my big takeaways from this year, the one that jumps out when I start thinking about it, is there's a lot of really directed instruction happening in my school district right now, and it's very much anti a lot of the way I like to teach. So I've been having to be really creative, finding other ways to keep myself sane in my classroom. I'm doing a lot more, I'm like shoehorning and slipping in a lot more art and a lot more maker projects than I ever have before, because I can't stand the way there's certain things that happen in my school. So I'm finding ways to be creative.
Rules.
That is cool. So does anybody else here have any experience with how we can introduce creativity in the classroom?
I mean, you just kind of got to know what you're thinking of creativity as. Some of our most artistically creative kids, maybe they don't work so well at creative problem solving. Some of our creative problem solvers aren't artistic. It's valuing what they bring and kind of guiding them towards that.
Absolutely, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. And I heard you mention the maker movement, Doug, and you talked about making. So included with there's many different ways to make and many different ways to show your creativity. So I know, Sarah, you work a lot with coding. So what would you say would be a good suggestion for teachers who are trying to implement that in their classroom?
There's like a lot of different ways. Okay, so like with coding, not only do you hit all the well, not all of the Common Core, but a good number of the Common Core standards in both ELA and in math, but it also gives like your hello?
Yeah, we hear you.
Sorry, I heard something else. Sorry. But it also gives your students who tend to be a little lower on the academic scale a chance to like build their confidence and show their understanding, because like when they learn how to code, it's like this new skill that just creates so much awesomeness. So for a teacher who's wanting to start off with like giving more creative opportunities for their students, I'd say like introduce them to Scratch, right? Give them like a blank template, a little help tutorial as they need, and then they can like put things together. Brian Aspinall actually the day before Thanksgiving tweeted the process of coding the Pythagorean theorem screenshot for screenshot and direction for direction. So if that's what he was able to do, like imagine what our kids could do if you just like give them a problem and be like, here's a tool, go figure out how to use it and solve it.
Yeah, absolutely.
What program do you use for code? I've heard a lot of teachers talk about coding, and it sounds like something I want to do with my kids, but I don't know where to start.
It really depends on the grade level. So what grade level do you work with?
4th grade.
You could definitely have them start on Scratch if you want them to just jump right in and start creating things. But what I've learned with having them start with a blank template is a lot of students get like really frustrated because they don't have the guidance. So what I've actually done with one of our 4th grade classes was started them on studio.code.org and in their course 2. And it gives them like puzzles to work through, and they have to learn about if, then, else, and blocks like that, like conditionals and loops and things like that. So it starts it off as a fun activity where you're solving puzzles, and then you can put them in something like Scratch where they're creating things, and it gives them a lot more freedom.
Studio.code.org?
Correct.
And then Scratch is a program?
Yep, it's scratch.mit.edu or, yeah, scratch.mit.edu, and it's both of them are totally free.
Cool. I'll check that out. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Nice, nice. And Dr. Will, you work a lot with professional development of teachers. So how do you encourage teachers to implement creativity in their classroom?
Okay. What I have done, and not necessarily about creativity, I have sort of stopped coming to them with the new hot and sexy. Because I admit, I see something on Twitter or Google Plus, and I go, "Ooh, this is nice! I'm getting the shivers. Let me take it to the teachers." And the problem with that a lot of times is adoption, because they may get it, they may get excited that 45 minutes and it's never used again. So I sort of changed my approach of, okay, Miss Johnson, good morning. What's going on in your classroom? And letting them explain what they're doing, and then going into, well, okay, if you could do this, but in a different way, how would you do it? Or what is lacking in what you're doing now? And from there, sort of then coaching them to choosing sort of the right tool that best fits not only their strengths, but resources they already have, as well as the needs they have for their students. So if you can put it on that level of them sort of being creative from their own vantage point to using the best tool, I would kind of throw that in there.
Absolutely, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. And I just wanted to interject really quickly that some of the resources that Tara was talking about, we've added them to the showcase. So for those of you watching us, I see that we have some viewers right now. So if you click on the little showcase, then you'll be able to see exactly the code.org and the Scratch resources. And in addition, feel free to jump in with any of your own questions or your own feedback in utilizing our question and answer widget. So this is just awesomeness. You guys are already bringing in, and we just started. So this is great. So what would be another takeaway? Anyone feel free to jump in.
I went to my first ever Ed Camp this year, and my 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and I think 8th.
I muted myself so you didn't hear me laughing. Wow.
Hashtag addict.
Ed Camp addict. That should be a hashtag all for you. Anybody else on the panel attended any Ed Camps this year?
Nada.
Two. Which one's Dr. Will?
Well, I'll say me. Well, not two, but I did the Ed Camp home, but me and 4 of the educators were we brought Ed Camp actually to Mississippi. So we created the first Ed Camp, organized the first Ed Camp in Mississippi, and it was interesting because again, you know, you get all excited because you see all these things on Twitter, and you go, "This is going to be phenomenon." And I reached out to people like Tech Smith and Edutopia and all these folks. They sent tremendous swag. I'm like, "Oh, this is going to be popping." And when you show up, 8 people show up, and it's like, this. I know Mississippi, you know, isn't Texas, but 8 people. And what we realized was our misstep was going digital, well, completely digital in our outreach, knowing that we're connected. So for us, it was just sort of a natural thing to do, but forgetting that there's a larger percentage of teachers in our district or in our state who have not yet made that transition to Twitter and other places, and that we should have gone old school, printing out flyers and actually mailing them to schools or taking them to schools and that way.
That is a fantastic tip. Fantastic tip. And Terry, you actually organized one, right?
Yes, I helped to organize Ed Camp Arlington, and it was our first ever Ed Camp, and that's what got me on the whole Ed Camp bandwagon. So I drove up to Lehigh Valley from DC to go to their Ed Camp before we did ours, and yeah, it was awesome. And that's what like kind of started the snowball effect of like, oh, where's the next Ed Camp and how far away is it? Is it less than 5 hours? So yeah, we expected 200 people. I believe we had 60, but we got like Starbucks to donate coffee. This really nice manager at Staples donated like our name badges and stuff. I mean, it was pretty awesome. Oh yeah, and that's where we met for the first time.
Woo! There needs to be a clapping sound effect on here. Definitely. So we have a few Ed Camp organizers on the panel. We also had our very first Ed Camp, which was the day right before Ed Camp Arlington, and it was Ed Camp GHFI. So that was pretty cool. So yeah, I definitely have to second and third everything that everyone said here about how Ed Camps are pretty much, they're the new hotness. They're definitely a way to get an engaging way to get your professional learn on. So Ed Camps are phenomenal. So, okay, so any other takeaways on the panel? Feel free to jump in with yours.
I learned what love says. Oh.
I'm sorry. All right. Go ahead.
Where we're going?
With can you guys hear me? Did I unmute?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay, good. I want to jump in with what Dr. Will said about other teachers not being on tech. We don't have with technology. I'm always on Twitter. I'm always using all of these different tools, and then I'll go to my staff and I'll be like, "You guys are on Google Drive, right? Let's do this and this." No, I've done like 3 trainings with my staff. This is how you use the tools so it's hard to remember, and that's I think one of my takeaways from the year. It's hard to remember that we have all of these tools, but a giant percentage, like he said, aren't familiar with those tools. They're not good at them yet. They don't even, and some of them are still scared. So we've got to
Right. We might have lost you. It looks like you're frozen. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, part of it is our systemic thinking is still small, and that's one of the big things that I focused on this year is we're in a big echo. We're seeing a lot of the same lessons, a lot of the same activities, ideas online, in textbooks, and so what will happen is one teacher says, okay, I saw this great lesson or this great idea, and they'll do it, and then run and tell everyone else, I saw this great lesson, this idea. Well, what's in it? We're losing a lot of the creativity, a lot of those new innovative ideas, and it's because we're looking to the same sources. one of the big things that I've been pushing some of the teachers that I serve is read. You know, what was the last thing that you read here that you could turn into something, especially working with our ELL students or students that really don't like to learn English. They don't have to know it particularly. So what's some of the poetry in the area? What's a good TV show? And not like we're pandering, but, you know, you can teach, you get certain lessons from things that you watch. You know, if wrestling is one of the things here, all right, well, what can you teach your kids about public speaking from watching their favorite wrestlers? What can we learn about lyricism or poetry from listening to music they like? We have to start looking for some of those motivations outside of what we normally do, and that's what's kind of holding us back.
Absolutely. Agreed 100%. So, let me see. So, Tara, you had something that you were about to say as well, right?
Yeah, but it's just a nerdy, techie thing. Like, Google Cardboard is a real thing, people.
What?
What is that?
Okay, so it goes like this. You remember those, like, those thingies? Oh, man. Those red things from the 80s, and you wore them like binoculars, and then you pulled down on the lever, and you went on, like, this little
Viewfinders.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes, they were awesome.
Weird name. Weird as in normal, which is weird. Okay, anyhow. So, yeah, so just like the viewfinders from the 80s, well, this is like the modern version, and it's called Cardboard. And how it works is you put your cell phone in this. It's literally cardboard and Velcro and an NFC. So you put your cardboard inside of this thing, and then you put it together. Don't let kids do it because they broke mine. Anyhow, so then you pull this little lever down here, and it switches to like a picture. So I can hold my, like, there's no phone, so I'm not seeing anything right now. But I could, like, go around in a circle and see, like, a whole panorama of, like, a picture. And if I'm, like, on an avalanche somewhere, I could look down and see my feet in snow. It's awesome.
Wow.
That is too cool. There's just so much going on in terms of, you know, advances and things that we can bring to our classroom, just like really cool things. Yeah.
Where did you get that?
I will throw the link up in here. So I learned about it at the Midwest Google Summit, and Mike Jaber showed me it. And it's like, it's on Amazon for like $20. And it comes just like a cardboard thingy, and you can choose your color too. I went totally retro. Yeah, I'll throw the link up. It's awesome. It like takes virtual field trips to the classroom, but individualized for each student.
Does it work with like Android or iOS or like?
Android, yes. iOS, I'm not sure. It utilizes this cardboard app that looks like this. Wait, that looks like, come on. Of course, the day that you want to. Oh, that's the one that I deleted in my sleep. I told you about how I delete apps in my sleep.
True.
Cardboard is the last one that I deleted.
Oh man, bummer.
Oh well, we'll have to reinstall that. So I think it works on both. You just have to have an NFC. You have to have an NFC-enabled phone so that it toggles off of the NFC card thing that's in here.
Could you break down what NFC is for those of us who might think it's football?
Sure. Let me throw it up here in the showcase.
Okay.
Wait, NFC? Oh, yeah, it's that other football. Okay. It's the...
You mean real football.
American football, the way it should
wait,
be.
that's NFL.
Real.
So NFC... NFC stands for Near Field Communication, and it's like, remember those commercials from like a year ago where you could hold two phones against each other and tap this button and it beams the picture to the other phone?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what NFC is.
Gotcha. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Yeah. So I guess I'll jump in with one of my ahas for this year. My number one would be definitely moonshot thinking. That was a concept that they really push at Google Teacher Academy, but I didn't know before that. I wasn't familiar with the term, but I feel like that's something that a lot of teachers have been kind of implementing in their daily lives, and it kind of answers the question: what would happen if you weren't afraid to fail? So if you need something and it's not out there, then create it. So 2014 has kind of been that year for me. For example, I was thinking about ways to introduce people to each other, because a lot of people were telling me stuff and I was just like, hey, you sound just like such and such. Hey, you sound just like such and such. So with that, then we had the EduMatch project that was born, that kind of goes out there and helps people grow their PLN. So so that's been really cool. But just pretty much the whole, oh, I see Tara dropped the link, so I'm going to add that to the showcase right now. But yeah, just really making those changes that we need. You know, if something's not out there, then just creating it. So, you know, there's been lots of moonshots on this panel, I already know. So I'm curious to hear about some of your moonshots. So anybody feel free to jump in with anything that you might have.
Well, what we're working on is to create a online community of practice for our district. When I first got hired, it was like on a part-time basis a couple of years ago, and I just immediately went in and created a private group on Google Plus for the district. And a couple of people have gotten in, more people have joined than have ever done anything. But now, especially since our district is bringing in more devices, what I want to do is to reach out to leadership to support this, because what I have seen, particularly with my job traveling around the district to different classes, seeing teachers, you may see a teacher who's teaching this lesson and her class is rocking like a Jay-Z concert, and you like, they got to know about this. And you go see another teacher, she's teaching the same exact standard, but you know, you're like, am I with John Denver or somebody? Because it's just quiet and breezy up in that bad boy. And so what I want to do is get this community up and going, vibrant, so that all teachers around the district can share resources, can get in there and share these lessons and all kind of stuff, and dialogue and ask each other's questions about, hey, how are you teaching this and teaching that? Because I think it would be an easier transition for them to do that than to say, get on Twitter. And I think that it would bring the district closer into that mindset of sharing. But that is that's my challenge, that I want to actually make this community vibrant and have teachers use it and view it as a resource.
Absolutely, absolutely. Anyone else thoughts on this topic?
So, moonshot thinking wise, I mean, whenever I hear that, I think of taking chances and doing something that normally you wouldn't do. And there's not much that normally I wouldn't do now. So in June, I actually quit my job and drove cross country from DC to California to teach kids how to code with Tinker. And that all stemmed from just you have something inside of you that's like, this can happen, and like, this should happen, and here are the possibilities in education, and just go do be, right? So from that, a lot of great things have happened. I've started to speak at conferences on coding in the curriculum, and things, well, primarily that. I was going to say things of that nature. No, it's really just that. But try to get more teachers on board with adopting coding as part of the regular daily instruction, instead of waiting for students to be exposed to it when they're in high school. Because I really think that in education, if we are not adopting the iteration mindset, then what are we really doing for our students? So we're teaching to the test, or we're teaching to whatever, but if we're not getting them ready for the real world now, who is? Will they be ready by the time they leave us? So by teaching students how to code, you're actually accomplishing a lot of things all in one. You're teaching them how to iterate, and the earlier that someone learns how to iterate, the better, especially those students who are always used to getting A's. When the real world comes knocking and they don't know something right away, those are the ones that I'm worried about, because they're going to have the hardest time learning how to fail and how to try again and again and again until they get it right, because they've never had to. So with coding, students have to iterate, and they get immediate feedback, and they're able to create things, and you see like this change in like each student, and you hear a room full of like ahas. And I've experienced that in classes that I've been in. I've experienced that working at an all-girls school teaching a coding club weekly, and I want more educators to experience that with their students and for their students. So I really think that education needs to change in such a way so that we're not necessarily just teaching the standards, but we're teaching so much more than that, that's going to be so much more meaningful, and that will get students ready for jobs that don't exist yet. So if we want to like bring back that creativity that was in the classroom in kindergarten but was zapped by the time they hit first grade, we need to have students making, we need to have them creating, and one way that you can do that is through coding.
Fantastic points, fantastic points. So we are starting to wrap up here, but I just wanted to just kind of go down the line and see what do you foresee coming up in 2015. It could be maybe a trend coming to the class, well, not a trend, but a best practice coming to the classroom, or it could be something that you foresee in your own life, anything that you foresee coming up in this upcoming year. So feel free to jump in.
Water.
Water?
I think I'm really looking forward to hopefully a bigger picture view of Common Core. And so it's kind of fun having traveled and seeing what they're shooting for. So my big problem isn't Common Core, and I know a lot of people's are with the actual standards themselves. They're not the problem. The implementation is. And so if you look at the OECD, that's one of the big things that I'm trying to get more teachers to look at. It's the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. It's the UK, it's Australia, it's China, it's some of the biggest school systems in the world that are doing it different, in some cases doing it better, some doing it worse, but it takes a look at their standards, it takes a look at how their educational system is run. And I think if we really wanted to give a bigger view, you know, you talk about coding, professional development, if we really want teachers to start to understand this is why we're kind of pushing for this, jobs that don't exist, and they're going to be working with countries that have unstable economic situations or unstable political situations, understanding what they learned and how they learned it is really important. So that's something I'm hoping happens.
Right, absolutely. Global. That's definitely the way of 2015. Absolutely, absolutely. And I see that you dropped a link, so I'm gonna go ahead and add that to our what's it called? Showcase. Showcase. Absolutely, absolutely. All right. Anyone else? What you foresee in 2015?
Oh, okay. Well, more personalization, not only in PD, but in how students learn, particularly when more devices start flooding schools and people say, well, okay, we're going to hop on this LMS, but understand that in doing that, it doesn't mean just throw everything you have on paper online, but to understand with that, you have the power to personalize how students learn in doing so.
Absolutely. A lot of districts are going BYOD or one-to-one, so absolutely. All right. And Doug, any for you?
My school district really wants to go BYOD, but I've got such a low-income population that, like, during parent conferences, I was asking the parents, are you guys online? Do you have computers? And they said, 60% of them, well, I have a phone. That's all? That's what you get online with? Yeah. Okay, I'm probably not going to send home the bring your own device form for those families because they have the phone. They have the one thing. So one of my big challenges for the coming year is, hi buddy, is getting those kids who don't have the tech at home online as much as possible at school. I'm sorry, he's a tiny crazy person. getting online at school as much as possible. So that's why I'm interested in the coding. I've got my kids doing a bunch of stuff on YouTube. I'm using Kid Blog. I'm really trying to integrate as much as possible so that they have that familiarity from me. And personally, I want to do more speaking gigs. I'm doing a lot of presentations, and I really, really like it. I want to keep doing it. I like working with teachers. It's so much fun to talk to grow the profession that way.
Absolutely, agreed 100%. So yeah, those are some great goals. I'm hoping to see an increase in connectivity, collaboration with teachers around the world. So hoping to continue that. That's kind of been the driving force between the second half of 2014 for me. So yeah. So 2015 will be the year of even more awesome. Dun, dun, dun. So very, very excited. Just wanted to thank everyone on the panel for joining us. And I see your stuffed animal, Doug. That is awesome right there. What's his name?
This is Cufflink.
Cufflink.
He's a turtle.
Ah, okay, Cufflink the turtle. I like it. So yeah, so definitely looking forward to continuing to grow all together. So thank you again, panel, for being here and for all of your great thoughts. And thank you to everyone for watching. And we'll definitely post this up and share it out. So thanks again, everybody, and keep it locked for next time, whenever that is. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.